I'd rather predict the outcome of the Cubs-Indians World Series than predict the outcome of the Hillary-Trump race. But it does appear that Trump is closing in on 270 electoral votes and could go significantly higher than the amount he needs to win. Here's the math. If Trump carries every state that Romney carried, he'd have 206 electoral votes, 64 votes shy. North Carolina is the only complication, but he appears to have taken the lead in North Carolina, but again, a very tenuous one. Then Trump is currently ahead, albeit by only 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 points, in Florida, Ohio, Nevada, and Iowa. And those together come to 265 electoral votes, 5 votes shy of winning the election. He's got 3 possible states within grasp that could give him the extra votes. He's somewhat ahead in Colorado. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's tied or slightly ahead in, that's 8 votes. Tied or slightly ahead in New Hampshire, that's 4. And he can pick up 1 vote in Maine by winning the Republican congressional district there. Maine, he decided to sever its electoral votes and to award them separately for each congressional district. The deal in Colorado is that there is early voting. There's by mail voting. There's no polling places this year. And 34% of the state has already voted. And there are about 20,000 more Democrats than Republicans who have voted, but there are close to 400,000 independents who voted. And if you assume that Trump carries independents by at least 10 points, which all the national polls agree with, even the ones that show Trump losing agree with that, that would give Trump a margin in Colorado of 20 or 30,000 votes. So that's looking pretty good for Trump at this point. Now, lying behind all of this is the fact that Hillary has had a horrible endgame. She's articulated no positive reason for people to vote for Hillary Clinton. And if there's one thing that all political consultants agree on, it's that at the end of the campaign, you go positive. You explain your rationale for the country, you explain your vision for America, and you don't end on a straight negative note. It'll have a horrific effect on your turnout if you do. Now, the Democrats are betting on their field operation to generate a turnout. But I don't think that works. I think enthusiasm is what you need, and the ground game is no replacement for it. And there are indications that Hillary's turnout is lagging behind. Rasmussen, in his polling, asked voters, have you definitely decided who to vote for? And 88% said they had, and of those, Trump was ahead by 10 points, 53 to 43. Also, the African-American turnout in Florida looks way down. In 2012, blacks cast 25% of the early ballots. So far, they're casting 16%, a drop of almost 40 points. So those indications are ominous for Hillary, and the reports of black enthusiasm about the election are about 25 points lower than they were in 2012. And among voters under 30, the other key Hillary constituency, they're 10 points lower. The final thing to think about is that there's a band of industrial states. First Pennsylvania, then next in order Wisconsin and Michigan, and then next Minnesota. And that's the order of Trump's vote in each of those states. And it appears that he has a fairly good chance of winning some of those states. The portent is that he's running really well in Ohio, where he's 4 or 5 points ahead. And while the polls show him 2 or 3 points behind in those industrial states, many of those polls are old, and many of them are not really good polling. And it looks like Trump has a real possibility of getting that blue-collar industrial vote and running the table in those states, which would produce an overwhelming vote for Trump. So no predictions here, but a lot of good signs.